The Galactic Assembly. The Galactic Council's annual Grand Assembly was a magnificent sight to behold. Delegates from hundreds of spacefaring civilizations gathered on the gleaming capital planet of Zephyria, their ships filling its azure skies. Sleek alien crafts of every size and configuration gracefully docked at the orbital spire, a marvel of cosmic engineering that ascended from the planet's surface to the stars. At the apex of this immense structure was the assembly chamber, an amphitheater of shimmering crystalline walls bathed in the gentle glow of the twin moons. Floating platforms carried each delegation, positioning them around the central dais like an array of strange constellations. The air hummed with a polyglot of languages, auto-translated into a seamless web of communication. Amid this awe-inspiring gathering, a new presence was about to make itself known. Humanity, the youngest species to unlock the secrets of faster-than-light travel, was finally taking its place on the galactic stage. The gleaming silver arrowhead of the TSS Odyssey pierced the heavens as it approached the spire, drawing curious looks from the alien observers. As the human delegation's platform settled into position, an expectant hush fell over the chamber. Standing tall at the center was Captain Jaina Solari, her jet-black hair drawn back in a tight bun, piercing emerald eyes surveying the extraterrestrial sea before her. The dove-gray uniform of the Terran Space Service hugged her athletic frame, adorned with medals speaking to a career of courage and tenacity. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice resonating with quiet authority. "I am Captain Jaina Solari of the TSS Odyssey. On behalf of the Terran Federation, it is my great privilege to address this august body for the first time." A polite ripple of applause echoed through the chamber, yet an undercurrent of skepticism was unmistakable. The human ship, while elegant in its simplicity, seemed to lack the grandeur and sophistication of the other vessels on display. Whispered critiques began to circulate, some tinged with amusement or even derision. One voice rose above the murmurs, the grating baritone of Zoclar, the preeminent delegate of the Martial Crotax Imperium. His burly crimson form was encased in an ornate exoskeleton of gleaming black alloy, a living tank bristling with implants and enhancements. Yellow eyes glowered from beneath a pronounced bony brow ridge as he spoke. "Captain Solari," he drawled, each word dripping with skeptical amusement. "The Terran Federation is indeed quaint in its nascence, but surely you do not expect that unassuming little dart of yours to stand amongst the titans assembled here. The Crotax Imperium's dreadnoughts would barely deign to use it for target practice." Derisive guffaws erupted from the Crotax platform and spread to some others, though many alien faces showed apprehension at the prospect of human Crotax tensions. Captain Solari simply smiled, a gleam of challenge in her eyes. She activated her holoprojector, conjuring a shimmering likeness of the Odyssey that rotated serenely overhead. "Esteemed counselors, it is said throughout the cosmos that one should never judge a vessel by its hull," she replied calmly. "The Odyssey may not possess the raw bulk or firepower of some distinguished craft here, but what she embodies is something far more potent, the boundless ingenuity and indomitable spirit of the human species." With a gesture, the projection transformed to reveal the ship's interior, an intricate labyrinth of glowing conduits and pulsing power cores. Murmurs of reluctant admiration rippled through the audience as the advanced technologies were showcased. Quantum computing cores, self-adaptive metamaterials, and a revolutionary harmonic shield matrix. "Our ship is a product of ceaseless innovation, forged from the trials and triumphs of our turbulent history," Solari continued. "In our darkest moments, we dared to dream of a brighter future. And now, we stand ready to join you in the great journey of discovery and cooperation that defines this council." Zoclar leaned forward, eyes narrowed. "Pretty words, Captain. But the Crotax have a saying. The crucible of combat reveals the true mettle of any species. I look forward to seeing if humanity's resolve matches its rhetoric." As the debate intensified, no one noticed a small chime from the communication console of every ship simultaneously, a ghostly echo almost lost in the clamor. On a lonesome screen, a single line of text glowed with eerie urgency. Distress signal received. Unknown vessel under ATTCK. Immediate assistance required. The message's point of origin: a desolate sector of space beyond the Arcturian Nebula, where few dared to venture. Little did the Council realize, a crisis was brewing that would soon put the mettle of all species to the ultimate test. "We got them, Captain," Kauri whooped in triumph. "The luminous ship is loose. Get us out of this death trap. Maximum warp." Solari commanded, a fierce grin on her face. "Let's see if these tin cans can keep up with human engineering." The Odyssey's warp engines surged to life, the ship tearing a hole in the fabric of space-time as it leaped to faster-than-light speeds. The baffled drones were left in its shimmering wake, their prey vanishing into the cosmic void. As the crew caught their breath, a hail from the rescued ship chimed on the communications console. Solari signaled for it to be answered, and the view screen filled with the ethereal visage of Illumina, a slender crystalline being filled with shimmering motes of light. "Captain Solari, I am Kyrell of the Lumina Confederation," the alien spoke, its melodious voice resonating with gratitude. "Your courage and skill have saved my life and my ship. The Lumina are in your debt." Solari inclined her head respectfully. "We're honored to assist, Kyrell. But what were those drones? And why were they attacking you?" Kyrell's luminous form pulsed with an anxious flicker. "They are the vanguard of a terrible threat, Captain. An ancient enemy that we thought long vanquished. If they have returned, then all of galactic civilization is in grave peril." The Lumina's dire warning hung in the air, a chilling premonition of the trials to come. Little did the Odyssey crew realize, their daring rescue was only the prelude to a desperate battle for the fate of the cosmos itself. The Phantom Armada. The Odyssey and the battered Lumina ship limped through the void, two wounded survivors bound by a shared trauma. In the Odyssey's briefing room, Captain Solari and her senior officers listened with growing alarm as Kyrell recounted the chilling tale of the Phantom Armada. Long ago, before the rise of the Galactic Council, a rogue civilization known as the Zolkari waged a campaign of conquest across the stars. Kyrell explained, its crystalline form pulsing with ancient memories. Their ships were cloaked in an impenetrable veil of darkness, striking without warning and vanishing like ghosts. They were the Phantom Armada. Commander Shen Liu leaned forward, her almond eyes narrowed. But what happened to them? How were they defeated? It took the combined might of a dozen starfaring races to turn the tide, Kyrell continued. In a final desperate battle, the Zolkari homeworld was destroyed, and their armada was scattered to the cosmic winds. We thought them extinct, a dark chapter sealed in the annals of history. Solari shared a grim look with her officers. Until now, those drones we faced were just the beginning, weren't they? Kyrell dipped its head in solemn affirmation. I fear the Zolkari have rebuilt in secret, biding their time for centuries, and now they seek to finish what they started, the subjugation of all free species in the galaxy. Suddenly, the ship's intercom crackled to life. Captain Solari to the bridge. We have multiple contacts dropping out of warp. The officers rushed to the bridge, Kyrell gliding behind them. The view screen revealed a chilling sight, a dozen angular, obsidian ships, their hulls drinking in the light like cosmic wraiths. The Phantom Armada had found them. Red alert. Solari barked. Raise shields and charge weapons. The Odyssey's crew sprang into action, the ship's systems humming with desperate energy. But before they could fully prepare, the Zolkari ships opened fire, lancing the human vessel with beams of even energy. The Odyssey's shields flared and buckled under the onslaught, sparks and smoke filling the bridge. Shields down to 30%. Ranjiha shouted over the chaos. We can't take much more of this. Solari gritted her teeth, her mind racing. The Odyssey was outgunned and outmatched, facing an enemy that had brought empires to their knees. But she refused to surrender, refused to let this ancient evil snuff out the light of hope. "Helm, bring us about," she commanded. "Ranjiha, target their lead ship with a full spread of quantum torpedoes." The Odyssey swung around, its torpedo bays opening like the maws of a beast. A volley of shimmering projectiles leaped from the launchers, hurtling towards the Zolkari flagship. The torpedoes struck the obsidian hull in a blinding conflagration, the shockwaves buffeting the other ships. But when the glare faded, the flagship still loomed, its armor scorched but unbroken. The Zolkari returned fire with a vengeance, hammering the Odyssey until warning klaxons screamed and consoles burst into fountains of sparks. In that moment of despair, a new voice crackled over the communications channel. "Terran vessel, this is the Crotax warship Dauntless. We stand ready to assist." Solari's head snapped up in disbelief as a massive Crotax dreadnought dropped out of warp, its hulking form bristling with gun batteries. It was swiftly joined by a fleet of sleek Lumina ships, their hulls pulsing with brilliant light. The Allied fleet engaged the Phantom Armada, a titanic battle erupting in the void. The Dauntless traded titanic broadsides with the Zolkari ships, its armor absorbing their blows even as its own guns tore through their shadowy hulls. The Lumina vessels darted and wove like motes of starlight, their energy lances piercing the Zolkari shields with pinpoint precision. And amidst it all, the Odyssey fought on, its crew pushing their ship to its limits and beyond. They executed daring maneuvers, weaving through the chaos and striking at critical moments. The tide of battle slowly turned, the Phantom Armada falling back before the united front of the Galactic races. In a final, desperate gambit, the Zolkari flagship broke away from the engagement, fleeing towards a shimmering anomaly in the distance. Kirel gasped in recognition. The Shadow Zone expanse, an ancient Zolkari stronghold where their darkest secrets lie hidden. If they reach it, they may become unstoppable. Solari exchanged a determined look with her crew. "Then we can't let that happen. Plot an intercept course. We're going after them." The Odyssey and a handful of Allied ships broke away from the battle, racing to catch the fleeing flagship before it could vanish into the foreboding depths of the Shadow Zone. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance as they hurtled towards the unknown. Into the Shadow Zone. The Shadow Zone expanse loomed before the Odyssey and its allies like a festering wound in the fabric of space. Tendrils of inky darkness coiled and writhed, flickering with eldritch energies that defied scientific understanding. It was a realm of primordial chaos, where the laws of the cosmos were twisted and subverted. And it was into this heart of darkness that the Zolkari flagship had fled, seeking sanctuary in the eldritch labyrinth of its ancient stronghold. Captain Solari stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, her emerald eyes fixed on the viewscreen's unsettling display. Beside her, Kirel's crystalline form pulsed with a mixture of fear and grim determination. "The Shadow Zone is a place of madness and despair," the Lumina warned. "It is said that those who enter rarely return, and those who do are forever changed by the experience." Solari nodded, her jaw set. "We don't have a choice. If we don't stop the Zolkari here and now, the entire galaxy will fall under their shadow." She turned to her crew, pride and resolve etched on her face. "We've come this far together, through trials and triumphs that would break lesser souls. I couldn't ask for a finer crew or a more worthy cause to fight for. Whatever awaits us in the depths of the Shadow Zone, we will face it as one." A chorus of determination echoed from every station, human and alien voices united in common purpose. The Odyssey plunged into the expanse, the darkness swallowing it like a ravenous beast. Immediately, the ship was beset by a maelstrom of chaotic energies. Gravity fluctuated wildly, tossing crew members about like ragdolls. Consoles flickered and died, only to burst back to life with a shower of sparks. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp and twist, distorting the ship's sensors and navigation systems. But the Odyssey's crew refused to yield. With gritted teeth and iron resolve, they fought to keep their vessel on course. Ensign Petrov coaxed the protesting engines to life, pouring every ounce of power into the thrusters. Lieutenant Cowrie navigated by instinct and intuition, threading the ship through the labyrinthine anomalies with preternatural skill. And all the while, Captain Solari stood at the heart of the chaos, a beacon of unwavering leadership. Her sharp commands cut through the din, rallying her crew to ever greater feats of courage and ingenuity. As they ventured deeper into the shadow zone, a chilling sight emerged from the darkness. A vast, skeletal structure loomed before them, its twisted spires and pulsing conduits forming a nightmarish labyrinth. It was a Zol-Kari shipyard, an immense factory of shadow and death. And at its heart lay the Phantom Armada, hundreds of obsidian ships nestled in their berths like sleeping beasts. The Zol-Kari flagship hovered above it all, a looming specter of malevolence. By the stars, Kyrell breathed. They'd been rebuilding for centuries, amassing a fleet that could conquer the galaxy 10 times over. Solari's eyes narrowed, a plan forming in her mind. Then we hit them where it hurts. Lieutenant Ranjihao, prepare a boarding party. We're going to infiltrate that shipyard and sabotage it from within. The Maori tactical officer grinned fiercely, a glint of battle lust in his eyes. Aye, Captain. We'll make them rue the day they crossed paths with humanity. As the Odyssey maneuvered closer to the shipyard, a small strike team prepared to embark. Captain Solari and Kyrell would lead the infiltration, accompanied by Ranjihao and a hand-picked squad of the ship's most skilled warriors. They boarded a cloaked shuttle, the small craft slipping undetected through the Zol-Kari defenses. With bated breath, they penetrated the heart of the enemy stronghold, ready to strike a blow that would shake the foundations of the Phantom Armada. But as they crept through the eerie, pulsing corridors of the shipyard, a chilling realization dawned. The Zol-Kari had not just been rebuilding their fleet, they had been perfecting it. New technologies, born of centuries of twisted genius, lay integrated into every ship and weapon. The Phantom Armada was now more powerful and terrifying than ever before. And at the center of it all, a final horror awaited. A monstrous Zol-Kari dreadnought, dwarfing even the mighty Crotax warships, lay in the final stages of construction. It was a world killer, an instrument of galactic genocide. Solari and her team exchanged grim looks, the weight of their mission crushing down upon them. They had to find a way to destroy this abomination before it was unleashed upon the unsuspecting galaxy. The fate of billions hung in the balance as they pressed on into the nightmare, determined to triumph or perish in the attempt. Turning the tide. In the heart of the Zol-Kari stronghold, Captain Solari and her intrepid strike team fought their way through the twisted corridors, a trail of shattered Zol-Kari constructs and sparking conduits marking their passage. They had planted explosive charges at critical junctures throughout the shipyard, aiming to cripple the Phantom Armada before it could be unleashed. But time was running out. The monstrous Zol-Kari dreadnought, the World Eater, was nearing completion. Its eldritch energies pulsed and roiled, threatening to tear the fabric of space asunder. We can't let that abomination take flight, Solari declared, her voice steely with resolve. We have to destroy it, here and now. Kyrell pulsed with ethereal light, its crystalline form shimmering with determination. The World Eater's power core is its weakness. A precise strike could trigger a chain reaction, consuming the ship and the entire shipyard. Ranjihao grinned fiercely, hefting his plasma rifle. Then that's our target. Let's show these shadowy bastards the fury of the Terran Space Service. They fought their way to the World Eater's towering form, a monolithic silhouette of dread and menace. But as they prepared to make their final assault, a chilling sight awaited them. The Zol-Kari flagship hovered before the World Eater, its obsidian hull pulsing with malevolent energies, and standing on its command deck was a figure out of nightmare. The Zol-Kari Overlord, a twisted fusion of flesh and machine, its eyes burning with the madness of eons. Foolish primitives, the Overlord hissed, its voice a discordant symphony of tortured souls. You dare to challenge the might of the Zol-Kari. We have waited centuries for this moment, nurturing our hatred in the shadows. Now, witness the dawn of a new era, an era of eternal darkness. With a wave of its skeletal hand, the Overlord unleashed a barrage of eldritch energies, the fabric of reality warping and tearing under the onslaught. Solari and her team fought back with everything they had, plasma bolts and quantum torpedoes ripping through the air. But it was a losing battle. The Overlord's power was too great, its mastery of the Shadow Zone's dark arts unparalleled. One by one, Solari's team fell, until only the captain and Kyrell remained, battered and bloodied but unbroken. In that moment of despair, a miracle happened. The Odyssey, battered but unbowed, burst through the Shadow Zone's veil, guns blazing and shields shimmering. Behind it came the Allied fleet, Crotax, Lumina, and a dozen other races united in common cause. The space around the shipyard erupted into a titanic battle, the Phantom Armada clashing with the Allied forces in a maelstrom of fire and fury. But even as the battle raged, Solari knew that the true fight lay ahead. With a final, desperate charge, she and Kyrell boarded the Zolkari flagship, fighting their way to the command deck. They faced the Overlord in a duel of blade and energy, a whirlwind of death and determination. But the Overlord was too strong, its centuries of dark power overwhelming. It struck Kyrell down, the luminous crystalline form shattering into 1,000 shimmering shards. Solari, battered and bleeding, faced the monstrosity alone. "You fight bravely, human," the Overlord sneered. "But bravery alone cannot save you. The Zolkari are the future, and the future is darkness." Solari stared into the abyss of those burning eyes, and in that moment, she saw the truth. The Zolkari were not the future. They were a relic of an ancient evil, a shadow that had no place in the light of unity and progress. With a final, defiant roar, Solari charged, her plasma blade flashing. She and the Overlord clashed in a blinding conflagration of energy, the very air burning with the intensity of their struggle. And when the smoke cleared, only one figure remained standing, Captain Jaina Solari, bloody but unbowed, her blade buried in the Overlord's twisted heart. With the Overlord's fall, the Zolkari dissolved into chaos, their dark unity shattered. The Allied forces pressed their advantage, tearing through the Phantom Armada with renewed fury. And at the heart of the shipyard, the charges planted by Solari's team finally detonated, setting off a cataclysmic chain reaction. The World Eater, the monstrous dreadnought that would have been the doom of the galaxy, vanished in a blinding conflagration, the Zolkari stronghold collapsing in upon itself like a dying star. The Shadow Zone trembled and convulsed, the eldritch energies that had sustained it for eons dissipating into the cosmic void. From the ashes of that titanic battle, a new galaxy was born. The races of the Galactic Council, once divided by mistrust and rivalry, were united in common triumph. Humanity, the youngest of the starfaring species, had proven its worth and earned its place among the greats. And at the forefront of this brave new era stood Captain Jaina Solari and her valiant crew, the heroes of the Odyssey. They had ventured into the heart of darkness and emerged victorious, a shining beacon of hope and courage in a galaxy reborn. As the Allied ships limped back to the safety of civilized space, their hulls battered but their spirits unbroken, Solari stood on the bridge of her beloved ship, gazing out at the infinite expanse of stars. She thought of the sacrifices made, the friends lost, and the battles won. She thought of the unbreakable bonds forged in the crucible of war, the unity of purpose that had brought the galaxy together against the shadow of extinction.